For more information, please visit us at savocations.org.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Some Seminarians. My name is Eric Cruz.
Javier Ramos. Dustin Martin.
And today we're speaking about vocations and how to discern properly. This is something that we ourselves have experience with, as do everybody else on this podcast. And just one of the things we want to talk about is how to properly discern. It's something that everyone should be doing at some point in their lives. And it's what God is calling us to do in life, and that's why it's important. So, being the older of the three of us, Dustin, do you have anything to say about that?
Well, the older three of us. I would say that I think it's a very important part of our faith that we don't quite fully acknowledge. Especially as we're younger from our parents, we see the marriage and we see the families. But I think as a whole institution, the Catholic faith, we could do better at inviting and trying to say, what is this calling exactly? Like, we talk about it, but what does it look like? What does it feel like? What is the essence of vocation kind of discernment? And so, luckily, we went to the streets. Some guys went to the streets down at the cathedral, and they got some interviews and conversations with people and kind of got an idea what they thought about it.
Yeah. Sharing a faith is probably priority number one. And then as far as having a friendship, this is someone you're going to be doing life with and making huge decisions for other humans that you're going to be blessed with going forward. So if you can enjoy their company and just enjoy being in a room with them, even when things aren't the most exciting or it's the most fun, just being in their presence, I think that's a big foundation of marriage. It's just you can be with someone in peace and quiet or prayer, meditation, and not feel awkward or uncomfortable.
And we frequently say that we can be at a large party with tons of people and be so far apart from each other, but just make eye contact across the room and we feel this peace and sense of home. So, yeah.
I think it's key to be your own person first, and I think it would be very helpful to find Christ before you try and find your perfect match. So we have taught that to our children. And I think that's a good leg up on marriage as it goes. And then everything else is just kind of already out there. They're going to see, even without us and without the church, they're going to see many, many examples of what not to do. So hopefully we've raised them well enough that they would know the difference between what not to do and what to do when it comes to marriage.
For me, I always say just go with your heart. Don't always jump into things, because, I've jumped into things and then down the line, I'm like, no, this isn't right. Just go with your heart, because he'll show you that this is the right one. And I fully believe that he is the one that he sent down for me, because he is a saint of a man. And I'm just like, you can handle how, I guess, free-spirited in a way that I am. And I'm willing to do things. And he's like, oh, hey, go. It's okay. No, he doesn't care. He likes the TV shows I do. He's willing to listen to stuff I have to say, even if, he might not always agree.
Oh, yeah. As a young person, I think they're constant. It's like, oh my goodness, if the word vocation doesn't come up in the day, then what are you doing? I'm kidding. That was a joke. But yes, vocation is constant. Vocation is a call. We all have a vocation. Lots of people can see it as something narrow. It's not something narrow, but it's something defined. And it's important. And our vocation is our calling from God. So we should definitely work on finding it, but we shouldn't feel stressed or pressured on finding the perfect answer, because no matter what we give God, He will work something beautiful with it. And yeah, it's our life, and He gave it to us, and He wants to bring us to him with that. Sit down, pray, take it day by day, and do not expect a clear answer, because I've had many wise people advise me throughout the years that we're not going to be 100% certain no matter what we decide. Like to college, vocation, literally what we're going to do tomorrow. We're never going to feel 100% certainty. You just have to make decisions with the best of your knowledge with what you know. Pray through it all. Always pray. Always go back to prayer and the sacraments. Never leave the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church is the one that's going to guide you through that. Just pray. Just take it day by day. The Lord will get you through it, and he will bring you to it.
Well, that was really interesting. Any thoughts on what was said?
Yeah, I think having to interact with the young people around the Archdiocese, we hear similar stuff, that it's something that is always in their mind, but never truly expanded on further because of the world we interact with in this time. I think being the youngest one here, I can say that, when I first started to discern, it was hard to make, the people around me understand it when they're not of the faith or not in with the church. To this vocation is hard to really explain to people that aren't really in tune with their faith or with the Catholic faith. It's very out of tune with our lives or what the culture is right now.
Yeah, you make an interesting point, because it is so countercultural for whatever reason. It seems like, at least with some of the teens I've worked with in past years, there's no immediate thought of, what if God's calling me to something different than just being married, having a spouse, children, grandchildren, all that. It's like we as a church don't do enough to help people stop and think about what God might be calling us to do in life. And you mentioned you're the youngest. I think you're the youngest of all the San Antonio Seminarians, right? Yeah. And having been in your shoes before too, because I entered the first time when I was 18, and it is different. I think, out of my friend group in high school, and I went to a public school, I was the only one considering something other than just what is considered quote unquote normal. These people were like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, a lawyer, And I was like, yeah, I think I want to be a priest. And as you're saying, it's just so different from what so many others are thinking. But I think that's what makes it important. The world doesn't allow us the time to think, to question, to listen. Those are all sort of essential for discernment. And I came in when we still had the discernment house, but you both came in with the propedeutic here, right?
Well, I came in with a little bit of discernment house.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
it was a little different than what you had, but I still got a taste of it in its own way, which was good. But leading into that, one of the interviews I really liked was from Abby, and I think she really brought it together, because it's like how to discern your vocation without freaking out or without fear. And I like what she said, because she said about lots of people can see it as something narrowing. So it's almost like constricting when you start to bring it up, because when you you're going through your life, and Catholic or non-Catholic, you're trying to figure things out, but it's kind of like, what do I feel like in that moment, my mind? What entertains me? What am I attracted to, this and that? But like you said, I came in about 37. At the age of 37, I already lived like a life and a half. I had jobs, I was in the military, I did things, but during that time, I never really discerned a vocation. I was just chasing things. I was chasing what my desire was at that moment, or what I wanted to accomplish, and discerning any vocation was not part of that process. So until I brought God into my life, it was like, oh wow, it's not a narrowing kind of constriction, it's actually freeing when we allow it to work into our life. So discerning the vocation gave me freedom, and not, hey, oh, now you're putting yourself in a box. No, we're looking at it with the wrong mindset and the wrong kind of content. And I think that was very important, and I'm glad she brought that up, because I think the mindset of this age is, I don't want to be stuck in one thing. I'm afraid of a commitment. We're afraid of commitment now. And that's what, discernment brings commitment with it.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, people around my age, though I'm almost at 30, and those younger, they do seem afraid of committing to one single thing. What is it? One of the teens I mentored with the youth group, I think he changed his major like 3 times before deciding on something. But yeah, it's that commitment that to something greater than ourselves, I think, is what makes that discernment and the pursuing of a possible vocation, of a vocation in life, as something worthwhile. Just generally speaking, because we haven't touched on it yet, when we are talking about vocation, it's not just to diocesan priesthood or religious priesthood. Just to break it down into simpler terms, vocation is just God's calling for you in your life, which could be anything from being single, consecrated religious, priest, or married. And I think we just the examples of people in our lives that freely and faithfully live out those vocations are also models for ourselves in that discernment process, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The priest in your life, your parents in your life, you get a glimpse of it. And like you said, it's not about, well, I don't think I'm called to that, or I don't like that, or whatever. It's the openness to it, I think. When we start to negate things, it kind of closes us off. And instead of accepting it, we need to accept, like, okay, could I be a priest or married? Yes, but which one do I believe is calling to me more? Because I think a healthy person is going to look at both as possible. All of them are possible: single life, marriage life. So it's not like, oh, not this or that, but okay, if I'm really open to God and we believe in this beautiful plan He has for us, where is my heart really leading me? Because even I once was engaged once, But did I discern marriage? No. I was doing it because I thought that was what I was supposed to do in the moment, and it was just part of my life at that time. But did I ever give it a real discernment and say, hey, is this what God's calling me to do? Is this the person I'm supposed to be with? No. And so that kind of, without that peace, I didn't have peace as fully as I think I believe we can. And like we noticed in the interviews and the people talking about how many of them talked about discerning marriage, and such a beautiful thing. It's an important thing. We need families. We want to be here without families. But anything, Javi?
Yeah, I think the marriage one is also one that, just like priesthood or religious life, is also going down in numbers in these times. We see less marriages. My parish priest says I do more funerals than marriages in a year. So I think that's another thing we should look at and more of a pinpoint, that we should also focus on the marriage for our especially our youth, and the rate of marriages because at the end of the day, that's where priests come from. They come from families that are devoted to Christ, that are devoted to the church, and that's where most of the vocations to the priesthood come from. It's from a good, healthy marriage and life as a family. So I think that's another focus I think as a church should focus on, is also the vocation of marriage as well as the priesthood.
Yeah, just going off of that, with the marriage thing, I've seen some younger couples actually just recently getting married, and there's a couple more weddings coming up from some of the kids that I mentored, and just seeing how they've gone through this marriage prep. First of all, you should do marriage prep, but just how they've taken the time to prayerfully go about the relationship. These couples they're inspiring. They go to Mass together. They go to confession. They go to adoration together. They've put Christ at the center of their relationship, and they've prayerfully discerned whether marriage was the next step. They've spoken with priests. They've spoken with couples with experience, and they've done all that process. And even just last year, it was a beautiful, beautiful wedding for two friends of mine. And even almost a year into their marriage, you see this beautiful, holy relationship that in turn has inspired and motivated others around them to pursue the same. And I think it's just beautiful. And there was one, I guess, as the family goes, so grows society, with more and more marriages and couples going that route, it can truly form a change in society. One where we properly discern our vocation with prayer, with listening, and end up doing what God has called us to do.
It's wonderful. Yeah, and I think an important part, though, as we talked about the marriage and the priesthood and religious and single life, a very important part of this is once you begin, what does this look like? What is trying to discern without fear, or discerning without being afraid of being open to it? What exactly are we looking at here for discernment of vocation?
Yeah, I think it's funny. One of the things that I've mentioned to guys that have come up to me asking like questions about what seminary is like and that whole process, I've joked with them, just because you're interested doesn't mean we're going to keep you here.
Yes.
Which is apparently a concern. But I mean, we've had people come to the seminary, discern that religious life when I was there, but also diocesan priesthood is not for them, and they end up leaving. I mean, we've had, in recent years, I think in the last 5, one guy decided that this was not for him, and now he's engaged, soon to be married, I think. And so, knowing first that just because you're discerning something doesn't mean it's going to be the end of that discernment process. Same with marriage. Relationships can end. What is it called? Engagements can be called off. It's not necessarily going to be the end for that. And I think letting yourself be led by the Spirit is what's going to help you not only discern properly what you're being called to, but also trusting in that the Spirit leading you, you can then discern without fear as well.
You have any tips on how you got here in your vocation discernment to let everyone know kind of secrets?
Some secret shortcuts.
No, there ain't no shortcuts.
Just be friends with good people. Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, the beginning of my discernment was, first of all, understanding what a priest is and what he does. Because I think for a lot of people that are looking into the church from an outside view, the priest is just there on Sunday. And that's what I thought for the longest time. Like, this job's so easy. just work one day a week, and that's it. I'm like, that's what I want. But but I think to understand truly what the priesthood entails, and not just in the Mass, but also in the outside of being this guide and pastor and father figure to a whole community, is something that for me has resonated a lot with, in the fact that of my parish and the priest at my parish, and how I've seen those great examples. And I think for me it has been a great help to discern that this is a life that can be joyful. So I think a lot of people see the priesthood as boring, lonely, and depressing. But from the examples I've seen in my parish priest and other priests in the diocese, I've seen how joyful they are, how they build a community, and not just with their parish community, but with other priests as well, which is, I think, the most important part. So yeah, I think to have a full understanding of what a priest is and what he does and what he represents is a good start. I would say it's a good start for those young men that are discerning the priesthood.
let's say, yeah, for any young men or women, I would like kind of bring it to a head of, because mine was later. So I'd say, do not limit yourself and don't limit God. If you haven't discerned, or if you're not even sure what to do, for one thing, don't let age be a factor. Young to old, discern your vocation, discern what it is that you're looking for with God. And then on top of that, wherever you are, don't be afraid that because you start discerning it, if you have a job, like you're afraid you have to leave that job right away, or you have to be in a certain school or a certain place. Don't get in that mindset, but discern where you are and what you're doing at that time, and allow the Holy Spirit to guide you. He will lead you where He wants you to go. If He wants you to stay, you stay and continue to discern. If you feel a pull to go, then leave. I don't want you to think, oh, I'm discerning, I can't be at this job that I do, or I can't be in this relationship. Don't make any drastic measures right away. Allow it to work into your life and allow the pieces to come together. Some will break away, because that's what some of that fear is. I'm going to have to make a change in my life. And yes, I had to make changes, but it's always for the better though. So it's the fear of, we like to not lose that comfort of the knowing of what we know. So we're comfort in what we know, so the unknown is always kind of shivering to us. It's that fear of like that next step, or where am I going to end up? What am I doing? But don't be afraid of that. To be truly open is, like I said, at the end, it's the most freeing thing that we can actually pursue. And it's that comfort and that peace. And if you start to feel that uneasiness, I'm a big fan of spiritual warfare. Just don't allow it to get into you. Don't allow it to break you down. Keep the Holy Spirit close. Keep Jesus close to your heart and your prayer life. Like I know we do like adorations and prayer. Some silence. If you really want to discern correctly, I highly recommend silence. What do you think about that?
Everything you've said, for sure. Especially like, don't let age be a factor. I mean, just recently we had now Father Evan Wittig be ordained, and he's, 74?
I'm not going to say his
I'm sorry. But he was an older gentleman. And I mean, he was just ordained. So definitely do not let age be a factor. Don't let other things be setbacks either. I mean, like I said, first entered seminary at 18. I left seminary 2 years later. I finished a degree. I went off to do other things. And it wasn't until, I think, 5 or 6 years after I left seminary that I came back. So don't let things, just because it doesn't go the way you think it is going to go, set you back or block you off from what your possible vocation is. Definitely take time in prayer and be with God. You won't be able to actually listen and understand what God is wanting for your life if you don't spend any time with Him. I would say that's one of the most important things. As Javi mentioned, take time to get to know people. We have come and see weekends here at the seminary. If it's religious life that you're discerning, they have come and sees. Spend some time. When I was first discerning, the first time around when I was in high school, I went around and looked at different religious orders, and I was like, oh, I like that. I like that. I remember going to, I think it was a Cistercian Abbey at one point, and I was like, this is not for me. So definitely take time to get to know where you would like to be. With what you said about not making any big changes, I mean, when I was in the discernment program, I mean, it looked different from what it is now, but I was still working. I was living here, I was doing the prayer, some educational stuff, but I was still working. And just because you're doing something now doesn't mean you can't use it later. I mean, one of our seminarians, he did his education in marketing, and even though he's not working in marketing now, he still helps us out with things, and some of the stuff you see on Instagram, that's all him. So not only is it maybe something that you're doing now, it can be used for something later. I mean, even not for San Antonio, but there's a guy that is currently still military, and he's going to be a military chaplain, God willing, in a couple of years. Like, there's interests as well for you, so you're not just stuck in one thing either. Right. But certainly for those discerning, take that time to pray, take that time to be in silence, and take that time to listen.
Yeah, I think that's another aspect of the sermon is where or what religious order or what diocese. That was an aspect for me at least, like being, my home parish is run by a religious order, so
That's right.
I first discerned with them and then I decided to come here. But that experience to go over there to their house and have some time there, I spent a month there just to discern, live with them and everything. And eventually I decided to come to the Archdiocese and study here, but I think that aspect of still, like you said, like just to go and see, just have that time to explore different religious orders, spiritualities, and stuff like that can help you in later discernment in your life. It can also be helpful. So I think that shouldn't be another obstacle for people that this where do I go? And if I choose one, I'm stuck with that one. You can easily change it according to what God's calling you to.
Yeah, and we have plenty of religious orders here in San Antonio. So there's definitely so many to choose from. Yeah, it's just with everything that we've been talking about, I guess it really comes down to the individual and how they listen to God.
Yeah. Their relationship with God. Because my discernment and vocation is different than y'all's. Mine was later, mine was different, mine was, But I think that also comes to a point to where, like, don't be deceived. I'm never 100% certain. It's not like 100%, no matter what, I don't think that's a reality. I think people have different movements in their heart, and you kind of feel drawn towards this and that, but I don't believe in 100% because it's God calling and then it's an answer. It's God calling and then an answer. So our answering part, we can stumble, we make mistakes, we can misjudge, we can misunderstand because we're human, but that's the beauty of the journey. Discernment is part of our life journey. It's not like, I have to do vocation, and if I don't have my vocation, I'm not worthy, or God doesn't love me. No. This is all part of the beginning and the end of our life. So with this journey is part of our vocation. So I wouldn't be too focused on 100%. I have to be a priest. I think that's what God's calling me to, but an open invitation of, I believe God's calling me to be a priest. How can I look into this? Who can I talk to? Lord, I'm going to bring this to my prayer. Holy Spirit, help me guide this. I believe this is what God wants of me, but if not, then please open this door. I think we have to be very open and very honest with ourselves and not become too narrow and too set on a vocation. Like, I'm going to get married. There's no way I can be anything else. I never thought I'd be here. I never thought I'd be sitting here in seminary. I'll tell you what. So don't let things get in your way that you think, I can't be married, or I can't do this, I can't do that. Stop with the I can't and start bringing in, what can I do? What do I bring? What do I have? Because you have more and you're more capable than you are. And God doesn't, only want the qualified. He wants the unqualified because he makes you qualified. He wants the clay. He doesn't want the rock. He wants the clay so he can mold you. So I think being open and that love and just allowing it to work in your life is just the best. Like I said, it's a freedom. It's a freedom. That's our true freedom. So any closing thoughts?
If you are thinking about a vocation, you should come to one of the vocation events. I know Bishop Gary would be happy.
Absolutely, yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's been awesome talking to you both about it because, like I said, we've said throughout this whole episode, we're at three very different points in our vocational journeys. We entered at different points, different journeys, and just like you said, everyone's journey is different. And I mean, one of the things that we need to do, all of us, is listen to that and speak to others about it.
Right.
It's not a journey that you do alone.
Right.
It's a journey that we do in community and with others. And so, I mean, with all of that, pray, discern, and follow the will of God for your life. I think that's the perfect way to sum that up. So, just to end, I guess I'll just say thank you for listening today. You can find these podcast episodes and many more, our past seasons as well, on CTSA in San Antonio, Channel 15, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, as well as I think we just added Amazon Music podcasts, and iHeartRadio, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're everywhere. So feel free to listen to the other episodes, and we'll be praying for y'all. Pray for us. Thank you. Bye.
For more information, please visit us at savocations.org.